Indiana Fever make roster move amid Caitlin Clark's injury concerns. Entering the 2025 WNBA season, the Indiana Fever were widely expected to be a top-tier championship contender. Caitlin Clark was expected to be an MVP candidate and to continue her meteoric rise to the top of the league. Unfortunately, the season has not unfolded that way for the Fever. Indiana has seen Clark deal with multiple different injury issues. She has missed a lot of time due to the injuries and currently remains out as she tries to come back from a groin injury. After their much-needed win over the Las Vegas Aces in their last game, the Fever hold a 13-12 record. They are staying afloat in the chase for the playoffs. However, they will not be able to win a championship without Clark healthy and on the court. Read more. Caitlin Clark names best NBA player of all time without hesitation. To that end, Indiana recently made an announcement regarding Clark's injury. There is no return timeline in place for her right now. Caitlin Clark underwent further medical evaluations earlier this week, which confirmed that no additional injuries or damage were discovered, the statement read. Clark will continue working with the medical team on her recovery and rehabilitation, with the priority on her long-term health and well-being. There is no timetable available for her return. With Clark's status for the rest of the season completely unknown, the Fever made a roster move on Friday. As shared by Indiana, the Fever went out and signed Australian forward Chloe Bibby to a 7-day contract. During the 2025 season, Bibby has played in 5 games with the Golden State Valkyries. She averaged 6.4 points and 2.8 rebounds in 13.2 minutes per game. Obviously, Bibby is not going to be the piece that comes in and powers Indiana back to being a championship contender. However, she will have a chance to add valuable depth to a Fever team that badly needs help. It may not be a head-turning move for Indiana, but it's quite possible that Bibby could end up seeing some time on the court at some point. Should that end up being the case, hopefully she'll be ready and able to play a role and bring energy off of the bench. In the meantime, the Fever will hope that Clark can continue progressing towards a return to the court this season. Make sure to follow Newsweek Sports for all Indiana Fever and WNBA news and updates. When the Indiana Fever selected Caitlin Clark as the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, they weren't just adding a player, they were adding a phenomenon. Clark's unprecedented college success, electric playmaking, and mass appeal brought instant spotlight to a franchise long overshadowed in the league's competitive landscape. But as mid-season approached in the summer of 2025, the Fever faced a stark reality. Even supernovas need time and space to heal. After several weeks of battling nagging ankle issues and a concerning hip strain, Clark was sidelined indefinitely. Though officially listed as day-to-day, team insiders whispered of a more cautious, long-term plan forming behind closed doors. It wasn't just about her health this season, it was about her future and the future of the Fever. Then came the unexpected headline. Indiana Fever make roster move, sign veteran guard as Caitlin Clark sits. At first glance, the move seemed minor, a standard swap during a grueling WNBA season. But in context, it was a calculated pivot. The Fever were acknowledging the moment. Their star's injury was not something they could, or should, try to rush. The veteran returns.
The new signee?
34-year-old Odyssey Sims, once an all-star, now a journeyman guard who'd spent the last year bouncing between 10-day contracts and coaching clinics. She had been training privately in Dallas when the Fever called. "She's got that edge," said head coach Christy Sides. "We need someone who can take the pressure off our young core, someone who's been in the fire before." Sims, never one to mince words, didn't promise fireworks. "I'm here to keep the ship steady," she told reporters. "This is Caitlin's team. I'm just here to make sure there's still a team standing when she gets back." Her presence wasn't just about stats, it was about poise. With Clark out, the Fever had floundered in transition, lost their spacing, and looked unsure in late-game situations. Sims brought a steady hand, an old-school edge and most importantly, a sense of belief. The silent burden of stardom. Clark, meanwhile, has been seen on the sidelines in street clothes, smiling, clapping, coaching from the bench, but her absence has been impossible to ignore. Off the court, she's still a magnet. Fans wear her jersey by the thousands, and every Fever road game sells out within hours. But for a 23-year-old who spent her life proving people wrong with every three-point dagger and no-look pass, sitting out isn't easy. She wants to be out there more than anyone, said teammate Aaliyah Boston. But this league will chew you up if you don't take care of your body. She knows that. Indeed, WNBA veterans have warned for years that rookies, especially ones who play heavy international or NCAA schedules, risk burnout. The Fever's training staff, perhaps learning from history, chose caution over clout. Redefining roles. The ripple effects of Clark's absence forced the team to evolve. Kelsey Mitchell, usually a perimeter assassin, was asked to play more point. Nalissa Smith stepped up as a vocal leader. And Boston? She grew into the quiet anchor many believed she'd become. Sometimes growth comes from the gaps, said assistant coach Karima Christmas Kelly. Without Caitlin, the ball moves differently. Everyone has to do just a little more. The fans responded too. At a recent home game, they gave Sims a standing ovation for a gritty 12-point, 6-assist outing that sealed a win over the Sky. It wasn't highlight reel basketball, but it was Fever basketball. Tough, team first, and full of heart. What comes next? Clark's return is still uncertain. Rumors swirl. Will she be back before playoffs? Should she shut it down entirely for the year? Could the Fever make a run without her? For now, the organization is keeping things close to the chest. But behind the scenes, they're planning for both timelines. It's not about rushing her back, Fever GM Lynn Dunn said. It's about building something sustainable. Whether she plays 5 more games this year or none, our goal hasn't changed. What is that goal? To build a contender. And maybe, just maybe, to give Clark the support she needs so she can dazzle for the next decade. Not just this season. A different kind of highlight. In a media world obsessed with instant returns and viral clips, the Fever's decision feels refreshingly measured. They didn't panic. They didn't pressure. They pivoted, thoughtfully. Bringing in Sims wasn't flashy. But it was smart. Letting Clark rest isn't easy, for fans, for the franchise, or for Clark herself. But it's the kind of long-game thinking that winning cultures are built on. And when Clark does return, whether next week or next year, she'll come back to a team that learned how to win the hard way. No shortcuts. No gimmicks. Just grit.